The ability to observe without reacting is the highest form of intelligence. And my friends said this, and my friends, let's be honest. Disappointment hurts. It sneaks up on you like a slap you never saw come. One moment you think you know someone, their promises, their words, their so-called loyalty, and then suddenly they flip. They let you down. They disappear. They ignore you. And here you are, stuck in that storm of confusion, frustration, and anger. But let's get one thing straight. Reacting won't fix it. In fact, every time you react, whether with anger, sadness, or desperate questions, you hand them power. You show them that their actions dictate your emotions. And my friends, who wants to live like that? Not you, not anymore. So today, we're flipping the script. Instead of reacting, we're going to accept. Instead of chasing, we're going to detach. And when you do this, when you stop giving them the reaction they expect, you confuse them. You shake their entire perception of you. They thought they had you figured out, but now they're the ones overthinking. Before we dive deep into this game-changing mindset, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe. This one lesson could change everything for you. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will set you free. Hey folks, picture this. You're standing by a still, quiet lake. The surface is calm, reflecting the sky untouched. Then someone walks up, grabs a stone, and hurls it into the water. Ripples spread. The piece is broken. That's exactly what happens when someone disappoints you. Their actions disturb your peace. But here's where the magic happens. The lake doesn't fight back. It doesn't push against the ripples. It simply absorbs the disturbance, lets it fade, and returns to stillness. That's the power of acceptance. Most people think acceptance means weakness, that it means letting people walk all over you. That's a lie. Acceptance is not surrender. Acceptance is control. You're not saying, I'm okay with what they did. You're saying, I refuse to let it control me. Look at the great Stoics, Marcus Aurelius Epictetus, Seneca. They all knew one thing. You don't control people, you control yourself. Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's true strength. It comes from knowing that their actions are theirs, not yours. Think about it. The last time someone disappointed you, what did you do? Did you try to fix it? Did you demand answers? Did you sit there wondering why they changed? Did any of that bring you peace? No, it just pulled you deeper into the storm. Now imagine this instead. Someone lets you down. They ghost you. They break a promise. They ignore you. And instead of reacting, you do nothing. You smile, breathe, and move on as if they never mattered. That, my friends, is power. It leaves them shocked and confused, questioning themselves instead of you. Because here's the truth. People expect a reaction. They expect you to get upset, to chase, to seek closure. But when you give them calm instead of chaos, you take back control. It's like refusing to fight when someone swings at you. They end up looking like the fool. And let's be real. How many times have you chased after an explanation? How many times have you begged for clarity that never came? That ends today. Because from now on, you accept and let go. The best revenge is indifference. The greatest power is peace. So next time they let you down, remember this. Be the lake. Let the ripples settle. Return to your peace. They'll never see it coming. If this hits home, if you're ready to reclaim your power, write this in the comments. I choose acceptance over reaction. And if you're feeling this, if you're ready to break free from the cycle of disappointment, hit the like button, subscribe, and stay with me. We're just getting started. Now, let's talk about the hidden trap of reacting to disappointment. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom, as Viktor Frankl said. My friends, let's get real. The moment disappointment hits, your first instinct is to react. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's sadness, maybe it's an urge to demand answers. Why did they do this? What changed? Was it me? That moment right there is where most people fall into the trap. They react, they text, they call, they overthink, they chase. And just like that, they hand over control, not just of the situation, but of themselves. Imagine this. You're walking through a busy marketplace, holding a cup of hot coffee. Suddenly, someone bumps into you. The coffee spills all over your hand, your shirt, burning, frustrating, ruining your mood. Your first instinct is to lash out, to blame, to react. But here's the thing. What does that reaction change? Does yelling undo the spill? Does getting angry make the coffee magically jump back into the cup? No, the coffee is already gone. And this is exactly what happens when someone disappoints you. The damage is done. It happened. Reacting won't undo it. But what you do next, that changes everything. Now I know what you're thinking. But if I don't react, won't they think I don't care? Won't they get away with it? Won't I look weak? That's the lie you've been taught. That's the fear they've planted in your mind. The idea that silence means defeat. But let me tell you the truth. Silence is a strategy, not surrender. Most people want a reaction from you. They expect it. They count on it. Because when you react, you confirm their power over you. You prove that their actions affect you. And the moment you do that, they win. Think of it like a puppet on strings. Every time you react, you let them pull those strings. They make a move, and you dance, and you dance. But when you stop reacting, when you cut those strings, they lose control. Even Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics of all time, knew this. He once said, "You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all." Let that sink in. The situation doesn't care. The person who let you down might not even care. So why should you let it consume you? Here's why it feels so difficult. You've been conditioned to think that reacting means you're taking control, that fighting back means you're strong, that demanding answers gives you closure. But when has that ever worked? Has yelling ever forced someone to respect you? Has chasing ever made someone love you more? Has reacting ever brought you peace? No, it's only drained you, made you feel powerless, made you question yourself. And that's because control isn't found in reaction, it's found in restraint. But I get it. It's terrifying to sit in silence, to not reach out, to not explain yourself, to not beg to be understood. Because it feels like giving up. It feels like they're winning. But my friends, that's not what's happening. What's really happening is you're taking your power back. When you refuse to react, you shift the weight. Suddenly the burden isn't on you anymore. It's on them. Now they have to sit with their choices. Now they have to wonder why you're not chasing, not explaining, not pleading. Now they are the ones feeling uncertain. And that's how you reclaim control. So the next time disappointment hits, I want you to pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what does reacting actually give me? If the answer is nothing, then don't do it. Instead, embrace acceptance. Confuse them with your silence. Show them that their actions don't shake you. Show yourself that you are stronger than your emotions. Show the world that you are unshakable. Unshakable. Write this in the comments. I refuse to react. I choose my power. And stay with me because next, we're diving even deeper. You're about to see why acceptance isn't weakness. It's the ultimate strength. Now let's explore why acceptance is not weakness. It's power. He who angers you controls you, said Epictetus. My friends, let's break a dangerous myth. The idea that acceptance means weakness. That if you accept what happened, if you let go instead of fighting back, it means you're giving up. That's a lie A lie that keeps you trapped, reacting, overthinking, waiting for an explanation that never comes. Think about it. How many times have you stayed up at night replaying the situation in your head? How many times have you told yourself, if I just say this, if I just do that, maybe they'll understand, maybe they'll regret it. And yet, every time, it only drains you more. Now let me ask you this, who really has the power here? The one who stays calm, unshaken, untouchable, or the one who is emotionally at the mercy of someone else's actions? Let me show you what real power looks like. Imagine two warriors standing face to face. One is shouting, waving their sword wildly, reacting to every little move. The other is silent, focused, unmoved. They watch, they observe. They don't waste their energy on every little strike. Which one is stronger? Strength isn't about being the loudest, the most aggressive, or the most reactive. Strength is about control. Marcus Aurelius knew this. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the secret. You don't control what people do. You only control how you respond. And when you choose acceptance, when you choose to say, "I see what you did, I see who you are, and I will not waste another second of my energy on you," that is power. But I get it. Right now, acceptance feels impossible. It feels like if you accept what happened, it means they won, that you're letting them get away with it, that you're letting them think you don't care. That's the fear talking. That's the part of you that still believes you need their reaction, their regret, their validation. But my friends, you don't. Acceptance doesn't mean you approve of what they did. It doesn't mean you're happy about it. It means you're choosing your peace over their chaos. Because here's the truth. Most people want a reaction from you. That's how they know they still matter to you. Whether it's love, hate, anger, or sadness, as long as you're reacting, they're still in your mind. But when you accept, when you don't fight, don't chase, don't react, they lose all control over you. Think of it like quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. But the moment you stop fighting it, stop panicking, stop thrashing, you float. That's how acceptance works. It doesn't pull you under, it sets you free. And let me tell you something else. They won't expect it. They'll be waiting for your anger, your sadness, your confrontation. But you give them nothing. Just calm, just silence, just acceptance. And that confuses them more than anything, because now they have to deal with their own actions. Now they have to sit with the consequences of losing someone who no longer fights for their attention. That's why acceptance isn't weakness. It's strategy, it's power. It's you saying, "I am the master of my emotions. You don't get to control my peace." So from this moment forward, make a decision. The next time someone lets you down, don't react. Don't seek an explanation. Don't give them the satisfaction. Accept it. Let it go and move on as if they never mattered. And if this resonates with you, if you're ready to stop reacting and start owning your peace, write this in the comments. I accept, I detach, I rise. Because next, we're taking it even further. You've mastered acceptance. Now let's talk about how to detach and make them feel your absence like never before. Now let's discuss the emotional shift from chasing to observing. The ability to observe without evaluating is the highest form of intelligence. Jiddu Krishnamurti once said this, and my friends, let's get brutally honest. Chasing is a trap. It's a never-ending cycle that only leaves you exhausted, humiliated, and further from the peace you deserve. But for some reason, when someone disappoints us, when they pull away, when they treat us like an option, we feel the urge to chase. Why? Because we want closure. Because we want them to understand what they did. Because deep down, we think if we just explain ourselves, if we just remind them of our worth, If we just try a little harder, maybe they'll change. But tell me, has that ever worked? Think back to the last time you chased someone for answers, for validation, for an explanation that never came. Did it bring you peace? Did it make them respect you more? Did it change anything at all? No, it only made you feel worse. And that's because chasing does one thing. It confirms to them that they have power over you. Imagine this. You're in a room and someone keeps stepping back every time you step forward. You keep moving toward them, hoping they'll stop, hoping they'll finally stand still and acknowledge you. But they don't. They just keep stepping back, watching you move toward them, enjoying the chase. That's what happens when you keep reaching out. Every message, every call, every emotional outburst, it feeds their ego. It reassures them that they still matter to you, that they still have control over your emotion. And the moment they know that, they lose all respect for you. But now imagine the opposite. Instead of stepping forward, you stop. You fold your arms, lean against the wall, and just watch. No chasing, no begging, no trying to fix what they clearly don't care to fix. Suddenly, the entire dynamic shifts. They expected you to react, to panic, to spiral into overthinking, but instead, you do nothing. You observe. You let them reveal exactly who they are without your interference. And let me tell you, that's powerful. Because when you stop chasing, when you stop giving them the validation of your energy, they start feeling your absence. The attention they once had is gone. The control they thought they had over you is gone. And for the first time, they're the ones left wondering. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." But no one has ever gained truth by forcing another to see it. And that's the key, my friends. You can't force someone to understand your worth. You can't make them see what they refuse to see. But what you can do is remove yourself from the equation and let the truth reveal itself. Because let me tell you something, they will notice when you stop chasing. They will start questioning why your energy is no longer directed at them. They will wonder why you seem so unaffected. And that's when the shift happens. Not because you played games, not because you manipulated them, but because you reclaimed your power. So the next time you feel that urge to chase, to demand answers, to try and fix things that are already broken, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself. The one who stays still always has more power than the one who's running. Choose to observe, not chase. Choose to be silent, not desperate. Choose to be the one they lose, not the one they toy with. Write this in the comments. I observe. I don't chase, I am in control. Because up next, we're diving even deeper. Now that you've stopped chasing, let's talk about how to confuse them with your silence. Silence is not weakness. It is not avoidance. It is not avoidance. It is not giving up. Silence is strategy. And if you use it right, it will confuse them, unnerve them, and most importantly, set you free. Because here's the truth. They expect you to react. They expect the late-night texts, the long-winded explanations, the desperate attempts to make them understand what they did. And why? Because that's how you've always responded. That's how most people respond. But this time you do nothing. Imagine you're in an argument with someone. They're yelling, throwing accusations, waiting for you to fight back. But you just stand there, silent, unbothered, calm. The more they push, the less you react until suddenly they feel ridiculous. They realize they're fighting alone. That's what happens when you refuse to react to disappointment. Silence makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to sit with their own actions without you, there to soften the blow. And let me tell you something, they won't like it because now they have to deal with their own guilt, their own regret, their own confusion. Marcus Aurelius once said, "How much time he gains who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks, but only at what he does himself." That's the lesson here. Stop worrying about what they think. Stop waiting for their response. Focus on you. I know what you're thinking, but won't they think I don't care? Won't they think they got away with it? No, my friends. They will think about you even more. Because when someone expects drama but gets silence, it haunts them. It keeps them up at night. It makes them wonder, wait, why aren't they reacting? Why aren't they mad? Why aren't they chasing me? And that's when the tables turn. Suddenly, they are the ones checking their phone, replaying the situation in their head, trying to figure out why you're so unbothered. But the truth is, you're not playing a game. You're not using silence as a way to manipulate them. You're using it to free yourself. Think of it like this. Imagine you're in a battle, and the enemy keeps attacking, swinging wildly, trying to provoke you. But you just stand there, sword down, watching, no reaction, no wasted energy. Who holds the power in that moment? The one screaming or the one standing tall in complete control? That's the power of silence. And yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first. It's going to feel like you're not doing enough. Like you should be saying something, explaining yourself, demanding an apology. But my friends, you owe them nothing. Not your anger, not your sadness, not your explanations. Because the moment you start explaining, the moment you start reacting, you're feeding them. You're giving them exactly what they want. Proof that their actions still affect you. So instead, you give them the most powerful response of all. Nothing. Nothing. And here's what happens next. First, they assume you don't care. They tell themselves you've moved on. And that stings more than any words you could have said. Then they start to doubt. They wonder if they misjudged you, if they meant less to you than they thought. And finally, they feel the loss because now they're the ones left without closure. And my friends, that's when they realize you were never the one who lost. So the next time someone disappoints you, don't react, don't explain, don't chase. Just breathe, smile, and walk away. Write this in the comments. My silence is my power. And stay with me because next we're going even deeper. Now that you've mastered silence, it's time to talk about detachment, how to let go completely and make them feel your absence like never before. Let's keep going. Turning disappointment into detachment, you only lose what you cling to, as Buddha said. My friends, let's talk about letting go. Not pretending to let go, not saying you've moved on while secretly checking your phone. I mean real, undeniable detachment, the kind that makes people feel your absence in a way they never expected. Because here's the truth, most people don't feel your presence until they experience your absence, and nothing hits harder than when you truly stop caring. But let's be honest, detachment feels impossible when disappointment is fresh. Your mind races with questions. Why did they do this? What changed? Did I mean nothing? That need for answers, that's what keeps you stuck. That's what keeps you emotionally chained to someone who has already walked away. And this is where most people make the biggest mistake. Instead of letting go, they cling. They hold on to hope, to what-ifs, to a version of the person that only exists in their mind. But let me ask you something. If they truly cared, if they truly valued you, would you even be in this position right now? Detachment is difficult because it forces you to face a hard truth. Sometimes people aren't who you thought they were, and that realization, it stings. But that sting is the first step to freedom. Imagine you're holding on to a rope, gripping it tightly, refusing to let go. But the rope is burning your hands, cutting into your skin. The longer you hold on, the more pain you feel. That's exactly what happens when you hold on to someone who is already gone. You are hurting yourself, not them. And the moment you release the rope, the pain stops. That's what detachment is, not coldness, not bitterness, but choosing peace over pain. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That's what detachment is, accepting what you cannot change and choosing to move forward anyway. Now I know what you're thinking, but if I detach, won't they think I never cared? Won't they just forget me? That fear, that's your ego talking. That's the part of you that still wants control. But the harsh truth is, you never had control to begin with. People will do what they want. They will stay if they want to stay. They will leave if they want to leave. Your only power is in how you respond. And let me tell you something. When you detach, when you stop checking, when you stop wondering, when you stop waiting, they feel it. Because people expect attachment. They expect to feel important. They expect to be chased. But when you detach, they don't know what to do with that silence. They start wondering, why aren't they reaching out? Why aren't they upset? Did I mean nothing to them? And that, my friends, is when the power shifts. But this isn't about power over them. It's about power over yourself. Because the moment you detach, you win. Not because they come back, not because they regret losing you, but because you stop caring whether they do or not. And that, my friends, is real freedom. So how do you do it? You start by removing their importance. You stop making them the center of your thoughts. You stop reliving the moments. You stop seeking closure because you realize you are your own closure. You remind yourself, their choices are not your responsibility. Their actions do not define your worth. Your peace is more valuable than their attention. And day by day it gets easier until one day you wake up and they are just another name, another memory, another lesson. That's detachment. That's power. That's what truly makes them feel your absence. Write this in the comments. I let go. I move forward. I am free. And stay with me because next we're taking it to the next level. Now that you've detached, let's talk about what happens when they start feeling your absence and why they always come back when it's too late. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Rebuilding your inner peace without them. Peace is not found in the chaos of others. It is built within yourself. My friends, now that you've detached, now that you've stopped reacting, now that you've walked away, what comes next? Silence can feel empty at first. The absence of someone who once occupied your thoughts can feel strange. You might feel lighter, but there's also a part of you that asks, what do I do now? This is where most people make a mistake. They sit in that emptiness, waiting, hoping, watching. They aren't chasing physically, but mentally and emotionally they're still holding on. But let me tell you something. You don't heal by waiting for them to notice your absence. You heal by making sure their absence no longer matters. The key to this is rebuilding your inner peace. Because peace isn't something you get from another person. It's something you create for yourself. But right now, you might not know where to start. You spend so much time reacting to them, thinking about them, trying to fix things that without that distraction, you feel lost. This is why detachment is so hard. It forces you to face yourself. It forces you to stop running, to stop using their presence as an excuse to avoid your own growth. But my friends, this is where you take your power back. Because for the first time, your energy isn't being wasted on someone who never deserved it. For the first time, that energy is yours. And that is your greatest weapon. Marcus Aurelius once said, a man's worth is no greater than his ambitions. And that's the question you need to ask yourself now. What do you want? Not what do they think? Not will they come back? Not how do they feel about you? What do you want for yourself? This is where real peace begins. When you stop looking for answers in someone else and instead start focusing on your own life, your own growth, your own happiness. Because let's be honest, how much of your life was put on pause while you were focused on them? How many things did you neglect because you were caught up in their games, their inconsistency, their mind games? That ends now. Imagine yourself as a garden. Every thought, every action, every choice is a seed. The time you spent on them, those were weeds. They drained you. They stole the nutrients. In fact, they choked the life out of what could have been growing. But now, you pull the weeds out. Now you plant something better. Now you build something real. And at first, it might not feel like much. It might feel slow. It might feel unfamiliar. But little by little, new things start to grow. Hobbies, goals, friendships, passions, and most importantly, peace. Because peace isn't just the absence of chaos. Peace is presence. It is being fully here, fully alive, fully in control of your own life. But I'll be real with you. It's not easy. There will be days when your mind tries to pull you back. When you start wondering if they think about you, if they regret it, if they miss you. That's normal. You're human. But here's what you do. You don't feed those thoughts. You don't entertain them. You remind yourself that thinking about them does nothing for you. They had their chance. They made their choice. And now you make yours. The choice to prioritize your own peace over their presence. Look around you. Look at your life. What have you been neglecting? Your health? Your passions? Your self-respect? Now is the time to fix that. Now is the time to pour all of that love, all of that energy back into yourself. Because the version of you that was stuck in disappointment, that was waiting for closure, that was hoping for validation, that version of you, that's not who you are anymore. You are evolving. You are becoming something stronger, something unshakable. And here's what's funny. Once you start doing this, once you truly shift your focus, once you stop caring about their actions, their absence, their thoughts, they feel it. They notice, they sense the change, and it unsettles them because they expected you to stay stuck. They expected you to wait. They expected you to need them, but instead you found peace without them. And nothing confuses someone more than realizing they lost someone who no longer wants to be found. So from this moment forward, commit to yourself. Build something real. Create a life so full, so rich, so deeply yours that when they finally look back, all they see is the space where they used to be. And all you see is a life that never needed them to be complete. Write this in the comments. I choose my peace. I focus on me, I rise. And stay with me because next we're going to talk about what happens when they finally realize what they lost. When your absence finally hits them, when they start regretting everything. Let's go deeper. When they realize you've changed, the best revenge is to improve yourself. As Ali Abai Talib said, my friends, something strange happens when you stop chasing, when you stop reacting, when you stop allowing disappointment to control your emotions. At first, it feels like silence. It feels like space. But then they feel it. They notice the shift. They start to sense that something is different, and that's when the doubt begins to creep in. Because here's the truth. People don't appreciate what's constantly available. They take for granted the ones who care, the ones who try, the ones who show up. But when that presence disappears, when the calls stop, the texts stop, the emotional reactions stop, that's when it finally hits them. At first they'll brush it off. They'll tell themselves you're just angry, that you'll come back, that you're just giving them space before you eventually reach out. Because that's the cycle they're used to. That's what always happened before. But days pass, then weeks, and then something happens that they never expected. They start wondering about you. The same person they once ignored is now taking up space in their mind. The same presence they once overlooked has now turned into an absence they can't ignore because they expected a reaction. They expected proof that they still mattered to you. And when they don't get it, that's when the insecurity starts. This is where they start testing. Maybe it's a random text, something meaningless, just to see if you'll bite. Maybe it's a story post, carefully curated to catch your attention. Maybe it's them bringing you up in conversation, trying to gauge if you're still emotionally invested. And the old you would have jumped at the bait. You would have overanalyzed every word, every emoji, every like, trying to decipher hidden meanings. But the new you doesn't play those games anymore. Because here's the reality. If they truly cared, if they truly valued you, they wouldn't be playing mind games. They wouldn't be testing the waters. They wouldn't be breadcrumbing you just to see if they still have access to your energy. Real effort is direct. Real effort is intentional. And if all they're doing is throwing out little signals, hoping to pull you back in, that's not care. That's control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A person's worth is measured by the worth of what..." And my friends, if they didn't value you before, what makes you think their sudden curiosity now means anything? They're not coming back because they realized your worth. They're coming back because they realized they lost control. Because they see you evolving, growing, moving forward without them. And that is what truly scares them. But let me warn you, this is where most people break. This is where they cave in. Because let's be honest, it feels good to be missed. It feels good to know that they finally see what they lost. But my friends don't regret for respect. Just because they miss you doesn't mean they've changed. Just because they're curious doesn't mean they're ready to treat you differently. And if you entertain their weak attempts at re-entry, if you give in just to feel that temporary validation, you will find yourself right back in the cycle you fought so hard to escape. So instead of falling into that trap, I want you to do something different. Smile. Not because you're taking revenge, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you finally see the truth. The power wasn't in making them regret it. The power wasn't in making them miss you. The power was in realizing you never needed them in the first place. The power was in your growth, your healing, your ability to walk away and never look back. That's what truly sets you apart. That's what makes them realize they lost someone irreplaceable. Because let me tell you something, when you truly evolve, when you truly move on, when you truly become the best version of yourself, they will feel it. They will see it, and they will regret ever taking you for granted. But by then, it will be too late because you've outgrown the version of yourself that ever waited for them. And that is your real victory. Write this in the comments. I have changed, I have grown, I have moved on. And stay with me, because next we're going even deeper. Now that you know how to make them feel your absence, let's talk about why your silence will be the punishment they never saw coming.